lights. The one on the left. Go for it. Okay. We're the Broforce Squad, and if we were a bat, we could make Guano Bowls before every goddamn podcast. I'm Matt Geiger, along with my African guide, Brian Banner, grading this on our 5 criteria: cast, story, best scene, impacts on pop culture, and rewatchability. So, Banner, go ahead and cast, take Jim Carrey so I can figure out what else to say about this.
I'm glad you left me the low-hanging fruit there, Geiger. Just like the first one, this is Jim Carrey at his best. In his prime, doing what he does. This is the Jim Carrey that we want back. I know in one of our episodes, we talked about what's a movie that you want to bring back, a remake, and I said it was Ace Ventura or another sequel. I think we wanted to make it into a trilogy, something like that. I don't remember, I was drinking. But I picked Ace Ventura because I want more Jim Carrey doing this. This is perfect. This is him. This is what he does. And I don't like the more serious, weird Jim Carrey that we have today. I want 90s Jim Carrey back.
One of the funniest things Jim Carrey ever did is whenever he went to the MTV Movie Awards and he was dressed with like a beard and long hair and no one knew it was him, and he begged MTV to play more Foghat videos. And that was in the 90s, and it was fucking hilarious. I'm looking at the cast right now on Google. I mean, Spike the Monkey was good in this, but everyone else, Tommy Davidson's in this. I know who he is. He's in some stuff. There's the dude from Lost is in it. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Exactly.
He's an African-American big fellow, and he was the dude with Vin Diesel's chick from Fast and the Furious whenever they caught him on season 2. And they thought they were the others, but they're actually the other people from the plane. He's in this. Moving on to story. The story in this has nothing to do with the first one at all, but it's fine.
Which I think makes it better.
Yeah, it does. It's a comedy. It's basically like he goes on a sabbatical and he comes well recommended, and these two tribes are fighting in Africa, and basically he has to catch like this fucking great white bat is pretty much what it is. What else you know?
At least for me, what's very relieving of this is, I don't even know if relieving is the right word, refreshing, I guess, is that this is a sequel to a very good comedy that is not a retread of the original.
Yes.
So many comedies, when they have sequels, we just get a retread of the original. This is a completely new, fresh story. I mean, yes, he's still a pet detective and he's looking for another animal, but it's completely different. He's not chasing down who stole a dolphin from the Miami Dolphin football team. He's in Africa, has some great scenes, original funny quotes, original funny jokes. It's very refreshing to see, and we don't get that a lot, which is nice.
To piggyback off that, not only – so it's a comedy sequel and it has nothing to do with the first one. Actually, if this one was made first, it wouldn't matter, really. Because
no, not at all.
But the other thing is – a lot of his one-liners aren't reused. The only one I can really think of is Like a Glove whenever he flips that Jeep like 4 fucking times. But he kind of does it – like he doesn't do it as cool as the first one. Like he flips it on his back end and he's like, like a glove. So that's the worst thing about comedies is whenever you give me the joke I've already fucking heard and we've talked to our friends about at the bar a million times, you're like, you're just trying to do the same old shit. This movie doesn't do that, which is why in our first one, if you've already listened to it, we think this movie is better than the first one, and the first one is actually fantastic. So going right into our best scene, I'll pick this first because I sound like a robot here because I did this in the first one, but the best scene, the opening scene, doesn't have to be the best scene, but it has to set a tone. Fucking bell. The opening scene of this is fucking hilarious. When he goes on the sabbatical and he's with all those like monk type people, and you can tell they don't really want him there. They kind of want him to leave because he's just really fucking annoying and makes weird noises. And the best part is when the fat dude walks up all those flights of stairs to get him, and then Ace Ventura uses a 90s slinky all the way down, and it doesn't quite do the last step, and he's like, dude, it was so close. Do I have time to try it again? He's like, actually, if we don't leave now, we'll miss the plane. It's like, okay, How selfish of me. Let's do everything you want to do. It's so cool. It's so 90s. Like, what movie since then has ever used a slinky? Like, nothing. Slinkies are cool as fuck. So that was mine.
What movie before that used a slinky?
I don't know. Besides commercials. Maybe Nickelodeon used a slinky. But Banner, I give it to you on a platter because we all know what the best scene in this is.
The best scene is, it's not even a question. Like, that's cute that you use that as quote-unquote your best scene, but we all know that is the second best scene. The best scene is when he's coming out he's stuck in the robotic rhino, and he comes out of the rhino's ass. Even as a kid, like, you don't even – it's one of those ones that you kind of understand because you're like, oh, it's kind of like birth, but it's not. And then it's still funny then. It's fucking hilarious now. Hands down, we don't even need to talk about it. That's probably a top 10. I'm going to say that's a top 5 comedy scene in all of comedy movies ever, in the history of comedy movies.
I'll do you one further, Mr. Banner, is as a kid, I thought that was really funny because it's just vulgar, you know, a human coming out of the rhino and the kid's just like, what the fuck, whenever they were kind of watching it. But how many movies, you know, parents take their kids to movies like, okay, they'll think this is funny. I won't think it's funny. I remember my parents taking me to this movie, and me and my dad laughed our ass off. I was like 8, and I still think it's funny now. How many scenes do you think is funny when you're 8, and you also think it's funny when you're 28? I mean, that doesn't happen very often. And also check out BroForSquad.com on the death of PG-13 comedies. Because truthfully, after about 98, they're gone. This is a PG-13 comedy, and it's hilarious. It doesn't use the F word. It's not vulgar. There's no tits shown. Not that we're not a fan of that. We do all that shit all the time. But still, it's very creative to come up with a PG-13 comedy that's actually funny. So going right into that, impacts on pop culture, I'm drunk. I'm just going to go and say this. This is Jim Carrey's best comedy ever. And I love Dumb and Dumber, but this... I think it's because I don't.
Liar's up there too, man.
I don't think I don't watch this. I mean, you know, The Mask. He's got a lot. Truman Show's not a comedy, but he's very good in that as well. He's a very well-rounded actor, and he doesn't get credit for it enough. He can do anything, but I think it's because I don't watch this as much as Dumb and Dumber. Every time I watch this, I forget how it is a probably top 10 comedy for me. It is a great fucking movie. I laughed throughout the whole thing, which is hard to say about comedies in the 80s, 90s, nowadays, whenever. What about you? Impacts on pop culture?
So if you guys remember on our Ace Ventura 1 review, I said that one had 0 impact on pop culture, kind of, because it produced this one, which I think is huge. This is one of very few movies that has a sequel or franchise that has a sequel that's better than the original. It's funnier. It's also a comedy that's funny. Very rarely do we get a sequel that's a comedy that's funny. And I think that is huge. It's being that it's one of few, I think that's a big deal. And it just, like you said, it shows how versatile and how talented Jim Carrey is/was back in his heyday. And how they didn't have to retread jokes and retread the same story to make it funny.
So rewatchability, I will remember this till the day I die. We were juniors in high school. One of my friends' parents went out of town. We threw a huge kegger at his house, his parents' house. And the party was going on, and we went in his room, I don't know, just to bullshit or talk, and Ace Ventura 2 started on TV, and we just got beers.
Never
and
saw you again.
We watched it start to finish. We threw the party, and we watched it in his room. Me and him, some people would come in, come out, and we watched it start to finish, and I remember laughing so fucking hard during the whole thing. It was the first time I probably watched it since I was 10, and ever since then, every time it comes on, I fucking watch it. It is a perfect comedy.
Yeah, it's definitely a once-a-year movie for me. I wish it were more, but at the same time, that's what keeps it being so goddamn funny, it's just a great comedy movie. Anytime you're in a bad mood, you can just watch it. It's so silly. There's no plot. It's just hilarious.
We love funny shits with no plot. That's our fucking kryptonite. Like, you give us like something so I mean, we did a fucking commentary on Who Drew the Dicks, for Christ's sake. If you give us something so stupid with no plot that's funny, damn. You just rubbed our dick the right way. All right, we're the Broforce Squad. Our website is broforcesquad.com. Check us out. Follow our blog, Twitter at Broforce Squad, YouTube, iTunes. We're on both Broforce Squad podcasts. Subscribe to us, please. Until then, comment below. Let us know what broback you want us to do. We'll probably do it.